Hi, I'm dating expert Hayley Quinn, and I'm joined by
Jack from How to Attract.
And as you can probably tell from the massive spend in the prop department of the Hayley Quinn YouTube, that today we are here to talk about red flags, which are basically signs that you should just GTFO, that's get the out of dating that person and stop that relationship. So the first red flag that we came, sorry, this is a bit more aggressive than I intended. The first red flag that we decided was when someone is being vague.
Vagueness. That basically means like someone is kind of telling you that they want something and kind of not really following through with it.
So it could be, for instance, when you're meeting a guy that he's like, oh yeah, I'd really like to see you, but then there's a massive tumbleweed when it comes to actually suggesting and forming a plan around that. It could be as well when you actually ask him a pretty directive, factual question, whether it's about the relationship status or when you're going to see him next, you get a cryptic, mythical answer.
I'd say vagueness in a nutshell, bin it off.
You know what, as a funny aside, like I actually legitimately had someone say to me once, when the time is right, the universe will bring us together. It's that kind of stuff, like just that. Okay, second big red flag, which means that they should be out, is when someone is really inconsistent with you. So again, this is when they might be over-promising and actually under-committing in real life, or when constantly there's someone cancels, reschedules, flakes, they need to meet closer to them, they need to meet 2 hours later, they're running late, they turn up 30 minutes late and don't apologize. They make plans with you on the date to go on more dates, then you don't hear from them for 2 weeks. They message you saying how fantastic you looked in your Instagram, and then when you respond, they don't respond to that message. It's bizarre, inconsistent behaviors really suck.
I would say big common ones with that is, again, they won't show up for things and then they'll randomly come over, buy you flowers, things like that, and it's just kind of like, it's a bit weird and it doesn't always, it's not really congruent. Basically. It's
not congruent. It leaves you thinking, well, what is going on here? Because hang on a minute, you messaged me, you complimented me, you said how wonderful I am, and now you're... So if this is the experience that you're having, it's God knows what's going on in their brains. I'm not even going to try and speculate. I know that's possibly my job as the dating expert here, but the important thing isn't the why someone is behaving like that. It's just think about how they're showing up for you. Is that really how you want someone to be showing up for you and behaving in your life? The third thing that I'd say to look out for, which is actually really, it's kind of like this is a nastier one, is the blame shift, which means when someone can't say sorry or I messed it up, you know, and instead they try and make it about something that you did. So an example of this, of the blame shift, could be when you maybe been seeing someone regularly, you're physically intimate, things seem to be going well, and then you bring up the relationship status and they immediately back off and they're like, well, you know, I just, you know, you've created expectations around this and, you know, I never said anything. Like, that is a really unaccountable response. I'm sorry, but if that person literally hasn't considered the fact that by seeing you 2 or 3 times a week and by having sex with you, that you might have built up some expectation that this might continue, that is crazy. So know how to call that out and, you know, again, respect and value your own perspective on this subject. You are not wrong. You are right to think, actually, that this is logical here to maybe have a conversation around this. And the fact that the guy can't say, oh, you know what, I've maybe, you know, I can see how you would see things that way, or, you know, I've thought about it and I can understand why that might be hurtful, or, you know, actually, you know, I should have brought this up sooner, but, you know, I think it's really important to be honest and have a conversation about this. If he's not saying anything like that and he's saying, you shouldn't have thought that, or you've come to that conclusion by yourself, again,
red flag.
Do you want, we can...
Right, my turn. But I think...
so you like the prop now?
I do. I was against them and now I've been convinced. But yeah, I think a big thing is a lack of transparency. Mm-hmm. And even if a guy's confident, even if he's seeing people casually, but you know, if he's being transparent about it... That's okay.
Everyone can be okay with that, exactly. Right?
But if they feel like they need to be shady about something, that's a big no-no, I think. Mm-hmm. And it sets the relationship up for something not very good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you. Point number 4 is controlling behaviour.
Yeah.
And that can often, I think this is often misconstrued as romantic, when actually, if you think about it, it is not romantic at all. And this is genuinely I think this is Hollywood's fault. You know, where you, wow, snowing. You know, when you see those movies where it's like, oh, but he rang me like 20 times and then he turned up on my doorstep with flowers and I shut the door and then he turned up again the next day and I eventually, oh, that man, I had to let him in. And when he did come in,
did Ted Bundy.
Yeah, exactly. And then when he came in, he pushed me up against the wall and I'm just listening to all this and I'm thinking, that is not a good dude. Like, or that is not a person, you know, that's a person who's not respecting your boundaries, who's, you know, not accepting a no, who's that continual boundary pusher.
I think with things like that, it's often done as well, kind of a point that we touched on earlier, but is that it's kind of often doing sort of grandiose gestures to say like, oh, I did this for you, I did that for you, and it's kind of used as a way, sort of like, I booked us tickets to Paris and I paid for everything, and so you should be a good girlfriend.
Yeah,
so that's kind of a subtle way
of emotionally
controlling something.
Exactly. And there's the thing is it can come across, so many of these things can seem romantic at the beginning, and you can allow yourself to be taken on this like romantic fantasy, and you're like, oh wow, this guy is so into me, this really validates me, you know, I feel amazing because I feel really chosen by him, I feel really special. And in fact, it's about learning to understand that feeling of specialness and attention that you're receiving. That is a big red herring. And in fact, that person's just not showing up in a way, again, that is consistent or that shows respect. So look out for when people continually break boundaries, whether that's ringing you constantly, turning up uninvited, you know, bringing up things from the past to kind of justify their actions now. All of these things are not romantic behaviours. They're behaviours from someone who's not really taking on board that you have your own world perspective and your own needs. Yeah,
I'd say that's the one to look out for, is that the sort of starting point for controlling behaviour generally starts off as sort of like grand gestures.
Feels romantic.
It genuinely starts like that, and then it's gonna, whereas actually probably the nicer way round is that if a relationship starts slower and then kind of grows into something really nice sort of a year or two down the line, as opposed to the first 3 months are really intense. Yeah. And then, you know, it's kind of always, it's not a good sign.
And I think that intensity gets confused with love.
Yeah. It
does. So just those two things apart. Another kind of aspect of this, which I think is another red flag, is when someone is always very, I would say, asymmetric in their demands and very last minute. So that means he will be like, hey, are you free to meet tonight? And you'll be like, oh, I'm seeing a friend. And he'd be like, well, could I maybe come over after you see the friend? So it doesn't say the no, but it's all very spontaneous. But then if you message him saying, you free to meet? He'd be like, oh no, I'm out with my friends. So look for where there's a mismatch in terms of he expects all of your time and everything right now kind of on demand, or he thinks that it's okay to just always suggest meeting spontaneously and never is able to make a plan with you in advance. I think when you're in the process of dating someone, it's quite nice to meet spontaneously sometimes. It can be quite fun to be like, yeah, what are you up to? Let's do this. But if it's continual message on the day, hey, what are you up to later? And especially when you say...
Even worse, message at beyond 10 o'clock at night. That's just taking the mick, really.
It is. And, you know, if anything, the big drawing line for all of these behaviours is you just think, is this person showing me respect? Would my best friend treat me like this? Would I treat somebody like this? Is this person showing that they value my time? Are they showing that they think that it's important whether they cancel on me or not? Am I just some kind of like fun toy that's in their orbit, or are they fully respecting me as a person with my own priorities and my own life as well? And without respect and without communication, that's not a relationship. I don't care how many times he turns up on your doorstep bringing flowers. It's not a relationship.
I agree.
It's like in a therapy group, you know.
Yeah, who gets to hold the ball?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm holding the red flag. Well, I'm talking about my feelings now. But you see, this is good. We're having a respectful relationship where we're communicating to one another what our personal boundaries are.
We are.
As you can see, we're pretty passionate about this stuff. We've got amazing events for women, and one of my big passions in life, obviously I work with men and women, but it is to allow women for you to think, actually, that you're not being needy, you're not being desperate, you're not being crazy, that in fact your perspective that was a bit of a bogus behavior, or actually I'm not going to allow myself to be treated that way, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to proactively look to connect with guys who do show me respect. If this is who you are and you want to be part of a new way of women looking at dating, where you're no longer just passively waiting for one day my prince should come, and you're thinking, actually no, I'm going to take personal responsibility to go out there, to look out for what I want, to approach guys, give clear signals, and also uphold my boundaries really clearly, and get rid of people who come into my life and don't give me the respect that I deserve. If this is you, wow, we want to see you. We've got an event coming up. There's going to be a link beneath this video. Also, please feel free to join up at hayleyquinn.com/real love if you want to get my newsletters. So anyway, guys, if you like and think, I would love to hear what your experiences have been. If you had anything similar to what's been shown in this video, please like, please comment, please subscribe. I've been Hayley Quinn, and this is...
I've been Jack from How to Attract.
And we'll be back again soon with another video.
See you guys.
If you think there has to be another way and you're fed up of dating that guy and you want a new, empowered approach to love which puts you back in control of your dating life, then come to my seminar, Commanding Love.